support them over the holidays. Our Giving Spree results, we won't know those till December, but they will be coming soon. So it's been a really great week. I think the next time I speak to you, I will hopefully have some more good things to share with you, with some groups that have reached out and helping us to serve our community and
Thank you. Ms. Becker, two things.
yeah.
One, is it possible for you to bring in some books from the Color Park program? And
Yeah, right now, yeah. I have, the next batch should be actually coming out in the next week or two, depending on the age group. They don't all get released at the same day, so I can probably bring a couple to show and share with that. I know I have the little engine that could, so I definitely have that one, but the next time I will bring whatever the book would be for this one.
I'll drop the second one, it's about the Zags and the playoffs, the tournament at the end, so we'll talk about that later.
They're off to a wonderful start. Okay.
Anybody have any other questions from Ms. Becker?
I just wanted to thank all of you, appreciate the formal work you put together the whole thing. We had a very enjoyable time, it was a great time, and that last year really was good. So thank you very much for all you did.
It was a lot of fun. The smiles on the kids' faces, it's all good. The sweat from the teachers will be even better.
The only question I have is being unable to attend the other obligations. For this final score. No one's given final score of the game?
I'm sorry,
The final score of the game?
the Final Four this year?
No, the final score of the game.
Oh, the final.
Who won?
Oh, the final, but we didn't win.
Well, that's not a thing. Are we
Um,
improving on the previous
They
game?
tried-
The score really scored.
I got no playing time, it would have been different, but he didn't put you in.
I don't know if the coaching staff had the right people at the right time, and then we had that switch with. And so that.
Just threw them all under the bus. I guess this is an AYS, so everybody plays?
Yes, everybody plays. They had a great time. We had
They have fun.
20, 22 staff
22.
members all together for the three
I mean,
buildings.
we had 22 on the court, but then we had we had probably 26 student volunteers, teacher volunteers, and community helpers, and administrators, and it was a ton of fun.
That's all we got.
You have 2 years to practice.
So to answer your question, during the third quarter, they decided to put the score even.
Oh.
We're supposed to put our best squad out there, compete with their best squad. Now, at that point, the score sort of went back out again. So I would say it was around 10 points, maybe 10 or 15 points, but for the night of fun it was well worth it. So,
I want to say it was like 30 to 24.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was nice.
Pretty low scoring game there.
It was,
Well,
like we said.
They do a lot of dancing.
Maybe second,
Yeah.
third. Not a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
it's a little more entertainment than this.
I will say that the Wizards, the guys from that team, they're great guys. And I got to spend some time getting to know a few of them, and they love coming to Littlestown. And from meeting with the kids in the assemblies in the morning and the teachers that they played with, they really did appreciate them. Because a lot of them are young guys, right out of college. And so.
Yeah, I would say just I want to add to that is the assemblies that we do on that morning that leads up to that event is just phenomenal for our kids. They come in the Wizards and they do a great job, and a great message that they deliver to our students, as well as promoting the event. But they come in and give a really positive message. So it's a good
We've got
thing.
2 years to recruit you.
It's a double-edged sword, fun and education.
That's right.
What grades do you do the assemblies with?
They did K through 8. Yeah. So a little bit different crowd, but I think we had more middle school kids attending this year, which is a great thing. They're a great year. So just lots of fun. So.
Anybody have any other questions? Hearing none?
I won't throw you under the bus next time, maybe.
Okay.
Always the coach. We're sweet.
We now recognize the members of the public who have signed up to provide comment as stipulated in policy 903. When your name is called, please approach the podium, state your name, confirm you're a resident or taxpayer in the district. Topic of discussion for the record. Please direct your comments to the board as a whole, not an individual. We ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. The privilege to speak may be interrupted, revoked, or recessed. The meeting may be called by the chair if the speaker does not observe reasonable decorum and orderly conduct. Thank you. Ms. Susan Johnson.
Y'all let me know when you're ready. So. Okay, just want to make sure, because some of y'all haven't seen it sometimes. Okay, so I also want to recognize the great work by the teachers. I'm looking forward to meeting with my daughter's teachers next week. We've reached the end of the first trimester for ACEs, so for the ACEs parents out there, you'll be seeing some progress, I'm sure. I also want to mention that tomorrow is the NHS blood drive. I think that was mentioned. And we have the boys soccer game, the annual alumni game coming up. Thanksgiving, so that seems like it's a fun event. I don't know, I'm not boys soccer, but that looks fun. Anyway, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Suzanne Johnson, Littlestown resident, and my child attends school in this district. As a taxpayer and parent, I am frustrated seeing taxes increase while our students continue to struggle with reading and math. When Superintendent Bigger was here, knowing that we were going to be spending all this money on the building projects, his goals were to achieve cost savings through the building consolidations by reducing positions, although I don't think that he meant classroom positions, I think he meant in administration. But that certainly doesn't seem to be a goal anymore with our central office positions, especially. Like, for example, tonight, newer revised position descriptions on tonight's agenda, and other positions, including the full-time maintenance administrative assistant and a second security officer for the building project, may be important, but they're not making a difference in the classroom. You spent a considerable time developing a new mission and vision statements and mapping curriculum to standards, and you've been very slowly, in my frustration, implementing the evidence-based science of reading methods. You introduced yet another automated assessment and instruction tool with iReady this year. But I can tell you, my daughter has completed plenty and plenty of automated lessons. Unfortunately, often not learning the skills because she actually needed a teaching professional to help her, not just a computer program. And it's not just the students and parents wanting more help. I mean, tonight Ms. Moran mentioned that they were looking at budgetary needs for differentiated instruction. Dr. Berryman, when she was at the high school, and Principal Golden have mentioned needing co-teaching to help having like 2 teachers in a classroom when the students are needing more help. At this moment, or at this month's curriculum meeting, I also was very frustrated by and disappointed in the lack of support for our MAMS teachers and education professionals who developed the elective catalog based on assessing student interests, career development needs, and reviewing enrollment in the current MAMS elective courses. While I agree with the committee's recommendation to move all the electives forward, I strongly disagree with changing course titles or descriptions, taking the opinion of one board member over the professional experience of our educators. Will this lack of support for our education professionals maintain our high-quality teachers at MAMS when we're already seeming to struggle with this challenge? I believe we're also struggling with keeping support staff, especially bus and van drivers, yet we're proposing $600,000 for new buses but don't have the drivers to put in them. Perhaps the most critical investment our students need at this time is career and technical education. Despite that priority for our students and our community's workforce, you don't have any plan to allocate any of our budget surplus to the ACTI building project. That's disappointing. You're estimating that we'll have to pay $500,000 per year, over $500,000 per year for 20, 25, 30 years for the ACTI bond payments. You plan to gradually increase taxes 1% each year for 3 years to build up to that annual commitment. But why not also set aside money from these budget surpluses of $3.75 million and $4 million last year, and who knows next year? For each increment of $500,000 that you allocate to the ACTI fund, that could be one annual payment coming from money already collected instead of new tax revenue. Perhaps half the fiscal year '24 budget surplus and any future allocations should be split 50-50 between the capital reserve and the ACTI project. That would ensure funding for both ACTI and our highest priority capital projects within this district. Speaking of bond payment, the public may be surprised to hear the district is already paying $4 million per year, about 10% of our budget, just for bond principal and interest payments, not for student programming or anything like that. In addition, further expensive capital projects are being proposed for the next 2 to 3 years for these buildings. Recall that last month you approved $358,000 for capital projects. You recently celebrated receiving 2 facility grants of $500,000 each. That celebration failed to mention, and we've since learned that that would require up to $5.3 million from our capital reserve projects for those, capital reserve fund for those projects. And tonight the board is asking to approve the allocation of nearly all the budget surplus to capital reserves. Is that 3 million or 5
That's
million?
5.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you for coming. Okay, on to the next. Need a motion to approve the following board minutes for regular board meeting of October 21st, 2024.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second, Steve Yoder.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the curriculum, co-curriculum, and policy meeting of November 5th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the finance, property, and supply meeting of November 5th, 2024.
So moved, Wayne Sullivan.
Second.
Second, Ryan White.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the work session of November 11th, 2024.
So moved, Steve Waddle. Second, Steve Yoder.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I have some.
Okay.
2 things here. Under the names of the attendees, you put M. Brenneman, is she Mary Brenneman? You see that? And down here under draft, the November 18, 2024 regular board agenda, under personnel report. We wrote the board asked for clarification, the board didn't ask, I asked. The board never asked.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Your
Okay. Finance Property Supply Committee report. Under the Finance Property and Supply Committee report, does anyone have any items that wish to be pulled and voted on separately?
I do. Also, oh, I do. I like to pull B, C, D, E, and I1.
I'm sorry, what did you say? Just so I have it correct, we're pulling B, we're pulling C, D, E, H, I, 1.
we'll just pull all off.
Pull all of that, all right. There you go.
All right, I have a motion on the floor to approve.
Got it. In the form of a motion, we have a recommendation for A, F, G,
Z pulled. Flip it over again. I don't think anybody pulled it. So we have a motion on the floor to approve A, F, and G.
So moved, Mayor
Any discussion on A, F, G? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
In the form of a motion, recommend item B.
I have a motion to approve item B, change order number 62 for $35,500. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
I have a question. So I was reading this change order, it seemed pretty extensive amount of money. Was this bid out in any way, shape, or form?
Yes, absolutely.
Was
This
it?
was, yeah. The issue that we had at hand, this is part of our construction project. There was an omission of a certain area of our firewall that needed to be fixed. And it was simply time and materials to be able to complete the job that was there. So it is part of the construction process that we have in place.
But it's an addition to it?
It is a change order for the construction project.
So you say you did bid it out?
It's part of the regular bid of the building.
Oh, the regular
Which
process.
qualifies under the regular bid.
Correct.
Okay,
It's
okay.
a change in the work that was being done.
When I read that, I sat there and went down through it, and I sat there and looked at it, and I thought, okay, are they replacing something because it got damaged?
No, it was an error of omission. So it was a part of a firewall that the code said needed to be completed from where the drawing had stopped. So the masons, the construction superintendent, everyone understood that it needed to be there according to code. There were no additional fees, simply time and materials to make it so it met code.
Okay, thanks, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Any other discussion on B? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of C. Recommend approval transferring 3.2220 from the general fund to capital reserve effective June 30, 2024.
I have a motion on the floor for a recommended approval of transferring funds to the general fund. Do I have a second?
Second.
Into the capital reserve.
Capital reserve. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Another C. Any discussion on this?
I do. As I stated before, and I know this points me to this point, but I want to make it again. I think that we should have taken some money out of this. Well, it was originally 3.75 million, it's now to 3,200,000, and put it toward ACTI in the account so that we didn't have to raise taxes this coming June. I noticed that you moved 500-some thousand over already, so I know it can be done. 546,000 went into transportation, so I know it could be moved because it was $3,745,781. And why couldn't we move anything else into ACTI? Because we're still going to be probably taxing the taxpayers again this year for ACTI. And I'm seeing a budget surplus here that they didn't know was coming. That was my whole opinion on it, that we should have just taken some of that money out of there and put it in ACTI. It would have been in an assigned fund to help sublet that, to give the taxpayers a break. Honestly, I think they need at least a 2-year break because the last 10 years, their taxes have skyrocketed. That's just how I feel about it, and that's why I wanted to separate it. If I don't approve it, it would only be because I feel that that's what should be done. And I just want to make that clear.
Anybody else have any other discussion? Mary, can you do a roll call vote on that?
Yes.
Mary Brennan, Brian Moyer,
Yes.
Nick Lovell,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, in the form of a motion, recommend approval of D of the 25-26 capital projects athletics.
I have a motion on the floor to approve letter D. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, having a second. Discussion on this.
Yes. Did we not exclude somebody at the last meeting? My question is, what do we, this is all about the softball field, the baseball field, and why did we not talk about excluding doing the surveying, softball field, and just, I was just wondering if we ultimately decided that, has those adjustments been made to this?
This is just an estimate of the costs that did get approved. We'll go through and we'll be able to, through the design process, eliminate certain parts of structure. This is the design process.
But why pay the fee if we're not intending on doing it at all? Why do we not just stick to the scoreboards and the defense we're gonna put, we said we wanted to talk about putting on the softball field, and the improvements we're gonna do about the baseball field, or what? Are they gonna do all the surveying around the softball field and all that stuff too?
The re-orientation was taken.
Oh, and so all that is taken out? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, it's just, you sort of have to do one with the other.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
In order to get the fields up, like baseball field, for instance, you gotta basically take the whole field out because the current baseball field, the dugouts are what?
Okay.
Yeah, so while you're there, you've already ripped up the first 40% of the, of the